I am He-Man. Call She-Ra and me at 1-900-909-2233.
We'll journey to distant worlds, explore the universe.
And probably battle Skeletor along the way, huh?
Probably, Orko. There's a new adventure every day. We'll also tell you how to get an action figure or this colorful poster. Get your parents' permission and call 1-900-909-2233.
I have the power!
And the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
This is OptimusSolo, and welcome to the 20th chapter in Tales of Eternia. With me for this journey into the Masters of the Universe franchise, as always, is TFG1Mike. Hello.
Hello.
Are you ready, sir, for more Powers of Grayskull?
Yep.
Alrighty then. In this episode of Tales of Eternia, we will be giving you our thoughts on Episode 58, Witch and the Warrior, Episode 59, Evilseed, and Episode 60, Search for the VHO. So we hope you're ready, because it's time to go back to Eternia.
VHO or beta?
Let's hope our luck holds out. The evil wizard Kothos will stop at nothing to get the fountain's magic waters. I hope my powers will be enough to stop him. The fountain! It's one of Kothos' demons. Back, demon, to the netherworld where Kothos summoned you. Are you all right? Yes, but Kothos' attacks are getting stronger. I'll need help to defend the fountain, and I know just who to call.
Malik! Oh, how nice to hear from you. How's everything on Stone Mountain?
I've left Stone Mountain for a while, Tila. I'm serving as magical guardian of the Fountain of Life.
At Aridin in the desert? Why?
The wizard Kothos has sworn to steal the fountain's magic water. Without the fountain, the city will die.
It seems you could use some help.
If you and He-Man could come to Aridin, we might stand a chance against Kothos.
Alright, we will start today with Episode 58, Witch and the Warrior, as written by Paul Dini. It was his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th episode, 10th and final episode of Season 1. We last saw him during Pawns of the Game Master a few weeks ago. The air date for Witch and the Warrior would have been Wednesday, November 23rd, 1983, which means that this episode aired on my 2nd birthday.
Yeah, they actually put a good episode on your birthday.
So this was my 2nd birthday present, Witch and the Warrior from Paul Dini, which that would probably make him feel like he felt old or something like that, since I was 2 when this episode aired. The plot for this one: Malik, the Wizard of Stone Mountain, is serving as guardian of the Fountain of Life at Aridin. Many attacks from Kothos leads Malik to ask for help from He-Man. Skeletor sends Evelyn and Clawful to claim the Fountain of Life. He-Man and Teela meet up with Malik and are attacked by Kothos. Kothos swipes Evelyn's power and transports her and Teela deep into the desert. While He-Man and his friends race after Kothos, Teela and Evelyn have to cooperate in order to survive the many dangers of the desert. For the Masters, we have our regulars. And folks, for the Evil Warriors, we have some people. Skeletor, Clawful, and Evelyn. Welcome back to the fold, everybody.
It's in my Castle Grayskull notes, but I'm just going to say it here. I wrote in all caps, Finally, the Evil Warriors are back.
All it took was my birthday to bring the Evil Warriors back. And the PSA is about trying to work things out when things go rough and when things are tough and fighting through it, teamwork, etc. Did some research for us because we were trying to think back of when the last time. Now, we did see Trapjaw, I believe it was like the Return of Driel, and we saw a couple cameos when the Game Master was looking for people, but the last time we saw Skeletor, if my quick research is accurate, is episode 48, Castle of Heroes. And it is now episode 58. So
that's too long.
We went a good 10 actual episodes of the cartoon, not episodes of the podcast, 10 episodes of the cartoon without seeing Skeletor. As you said, that is too long. So we got Skeletor, Clawful, and Evelyn. But to the actual plot, the whole idea of the Fountain of Life, needed help protecting it from this other guy, and then Skeletor is going to try to chime in, and if the Fountain of Life is so important, then he's going to get it. And then you have the side plot there where it splits off into He-Man dealing with Kothos, and then you have the other side plot of Evelyn and Teela having to form a team, so to speak. So what did you think of the plot of Witch and the Warrior?
Well, this is going to be a surprise to everyone. I loved every moment of it.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know I've said this before, but sometimes my Castle Grayskull moments and my Snake Mountain moments, I might have more or less of the other. But I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think in any of our shows so far, any of the episodes in the podcast, have I not written anything down for either category. And this one, I have nothing for Snake Mountain.
Interesting.
Didn't write anything down whatsoever.
Well, I got a couple very, very minor, very minor nitpicks about the episode. But as far as the plot goes, I think it's cool to have that side plot. It's not obviously something that hasn't been done before as far as having the hero and the villain have to team up. We're actually going to see it again today in another episode. But it was interesting that the pairing was Teela and Evelyn. I thought that was a clever plot device there. And obviously the whole idea of there's a valuable artifact or a valuable place, and we're going to fight about it. Interestingly, they brought in a third party with Kothos, so you kind of have three different groups that are fighting to either protect or take this. So I thought it was a pretty standard plot, but I thought the execution was done pretty well.
Yeah, it really, really was. I mean, the execution was done well, and I knew at some point, I remembered at some point that these two would have teamed up, because I remember as a kid always having them fight each other, and then at some point I would always let them team up, with the toys and stuff like that. But it just, I can't believe it's this far into the season that it happened.
Yeah. Interesting that it takes us far. Well, after a minor drought and actually seeing the Evil Warriors at all, that we get some episodes where they have to team up with the Masters of the Universe. So definitely interesting how this has played out. Obviously, for both of us, in me saying that this was aired on my second birthday, obviously we were too young, both of us really, to remember exactly how this happened. Maybe the first time we were exposed to it, whether it be live or in syndication. So that's kind of one of the things that why we were looking forward to doing this podcast in general, was to see, all these years later, for the first time actually watching it straight through, how everything plays out and the order of things and the characters and when stuff appears, etc.
And the other thing is, you're right. I mean, I was 3 at the time. I know I don't really remember watching. I mean, I remember watching cartoons, but I don't really remember paying attention to the stories of cartoons till I was 5 or 6, so 85, 86.
Yeah.
And by that time, it was still in first run. 85 it ended. Late 85 going into 86, it was in, the other, the regular syndication.
Which is probably when we actually saw it, because I don't think my parents were letting me watch He-Man when I was 2 or 3. I was watching some Care Bears and Sesame Street and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know Care Bears wasn't out yet, but stuff like that is what I'm meaning.
Yeah.
So anyways, and then as far as the plot, it somewhat went basically right in line with the story, so I have no issue with that other than we get a couple PSAs in a row that Tila's given us, so I know that probably grates on your nerves a little bit.
She didn't do anything too stupid. She didn't do anything stupid enough for me to rant in Snake Mountain, so at least for Witch and the Warrior anyway. I don't know about... I haven't scrolled down to the other episode yet, but...
So we will have to see. We're going to make our way now to Castle Grayskull, where I think you're going to be surprised to see who's visiting.
Oh, boy.
Did you get in touch with He-Man for me, Father?
Well, I think that could be arranged.
I'll get ready.
You ready for a trip to the desert?
Well, I will be as soon as I do this. By the power of Grayskull!
Come on. We have to keep moving.
It's impossible. I can't go on in this heat. I need water.
I guess you've had to rely on your magic for everything.
Oh? And I notice your warrior skill does you a lot of good in the desert.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I can put my training to very good use out here.
Wait. We had a truce. A truce.
You don't trust anyone, do you? These plants store their own water. I learned that in survival training.
Oh, I thought you meant to.
It doesn't matter what you thought. Get your water and let's go.
All right, we're at Castle Grayskull for episode 58, Witch and the Warrior, and I would like to introduce everybody to a new visitor at Castle Grayskull that hasn't appeared here in a long time. You're going to see a theme throughout my time here visiting Castle Grayskull, and that is all going to revolve around the one and only Evelyn. First off, before we get to her, as you did, I had one thing written immediately, and it's Evil Warriors and then some exclamation points. Because I was very happy to see them back.
Yes,
now,
yes.
Evelyn, first of all, I love the idea of her and Tila playing off of each other for the first time in a long time, and for probably the most that we've seen them play off of each other in the entire series up to this point. I believe this is the most screen time that they shared, just the two of them, so far in the entire series.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the idea that they have to team up. I like the idea that Evelyn has her power stolen. Now, we've seen He-Man or Prince Adam lose his swords and not be able to turn into He-Man. We've seen other people that are having to deal with overcoming obstacles, mostly on the good side. We haven't really seen a situation where one of the Evil Warriors loses the ability to do whatever they do and how they overcome it. So it's interesting seeing Evelyn losing her power. I thought it was interesting that we got to see her hair in this episode, which according to the DVD special information trivia or whatever, apparently Paul Dini had written in the hair to be black, but it came out as white. She has short white hair. There'll be a picture of that in the episode post, so go see that, visit the website, and check out Evelyn's hair. It's the only time I can ever remember seeing it.
And this will come back later.
Yeah.
20 years down the line.
I thought there was some cool animation with her. I thought there was a very nice transition when Evelyn fades out to go after Kothos towards the end. I thought that was cool. I thought we got a whole boatload of character development on both Evelyn and Tila. We haven't got a lot of character development in recent times, especially for the Evil Warriors, since they haven't even been in the episodes. So I thought we got to see a lot of it. There was some cool moments where Tila is trying to kind of subtly or underhandedly, sneakily change and shift Evelyn's ideas of the world, maybe try to sway her out of her evil ways more, towards the good side. You almost have a little, opposite of, I guess, Darth Vader trying to get Luke to go bad. But you have a little bit where she's trying to talk some sense into Evelyn, and you get some insight into Evelyn and that she doesn't have loyalty to Skeletor. She's simply wanting his power and wanting to be able to rule Eternia herself. So you do get a lot of character development between the two of them, which is awesome. I thought that there was a cool line in there too, because the classic line is, fare thee well, until we meet again or whatever, but they changed it and it was something like fare thee well, for we shall not meet again. I thought, there was just so many cool things about Evelyn in this episode. It almost could have been changed the title, instead of The Witch and the Warrior, basically just The Witch, I guess. So yeah, Evil Warriors aplenty and a lot of awesome stuff with Evelyn. That is my Castle Grayskull moment.
Yep. For me, what I found most refreshing is that Malik has moved on. That he's not pining over Tila anymore since he fell in love with his assistant the last time we saw him. Which, that's funny. We don't actually see her this time. Like, they don't even flash to Stone Mountain or anything. We don't even know what happened to the assistant.
Yeah, poor Karen. Poor
Karen. Like we said, finally, Evil Warriors, yay! Well, that's a first. He-Man didn't break the sand monster this time.
What else?
That was a rug roll-up with claws, not a roll-up you want to eat.
That was a weird thing that happened there. He-Man likes to throw it. He likes to show off towards the end of season 1 here his throwing abilities. Does a whole lot of throwing today.
Pretty much all the points you said about how Evelyn and Tila work together, I really did enjoy that. And the animation is by far some of the best that I've seen in more recent episodes. The designs are all well done. There really isn't, in this specific episode, I didn't really find too many animation errors, if any at all.
I found one.
Okay.
Which we'll talk about. Very, very minor nitpick, but I found only one animation error that I could see in this episode. But yeah, the animation overall looked really good. Just a high-quality episode overall.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's see what... we know Mike doesn't have much, but I'll have 2 things to point out once we get to Snake Mountain.
In the desert tell me that fat fool Kothos is after the Fountain of Life. I've long sought the powers of the fountain myself. By drinking its waters, I could become all-powerful. You two will go to Aradan and steal the fountain before Kothos can get it.
Oh? And what's to stop us from taking the fountain for ourselves, Skeletor?
This. Any more questions?
Yeah, well then, let's get cracking.
Alright, so we find ourselves in a mostly abandoned Snake Mountain because the Evil Warriors are out actually causing havoc, which is interesting. I know you don't have anything much here. The one minor animation error there was in the beginning of the episode, towards the beginning, once Evelyn and Clawful appear where Kothos and everybody else is doing their stuff. They show a scene where Evelyn's like sneaking out, kind of from like a doorway and kind of trying to like creep along unseen, and then they flash something else, and then they flash back and she's back at the beginning of the doorway again. So she got teleported backwards. So that was just a minor nitpick there. I'm surprised you didn't pick out this other one though. The only problem I guess I have with this episode is He-Man changes Cringer into Battle Cat right directly in front of Malik.
Yeah, that's true.
The trivia on the DVD says that, according to the script, that Malik has walked away at that point, and then he comes back right after. But seeing the episode as it plays, he's basically there. And they cut to a scene where He-Man points the sword at Cringer, turns him into Battle Cat. They go back to the other shot, and Malik's standing right there. So that was a weird thing, because he basically just revealed that he has the power to turn Cringer into Battle Cat, which then you could probably suffice to say that you would sum up that he could also change himself into He-Man. So yeah, that was the first time we've seen that blatant of an error as far as doing one of the transformation scenes in front of somebody that shouldn't know about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't. I was watching the episode, and it was just one of those ones again. Yes, I did write down several Castle Grayskull moments, but I just watched it and I found myself enjoying it because, again, it's something we've never gotten to this point. I mean, sure, there have been times and there will be times that He-Man and Skeletor have to team up, but I've never seen Evelyn and Teela team up at all. Not even for a 5-second scene. So...
All right. Well, I think there's probably plenty of hardware and good ratings to go out on this birthday special of mine, so let's get to the award and ranking section.
I can't wait till we get out of the month of November for this show.
Well,
I don't know what you're doing away from Snake Mountain, but you don't have to stay on my account. I'm just wrapping you up so you'll be safe on your long trip home.
all right, it is hardware time. First, to yourself, do you have power swords or havoc staffs to give out today?
Power swords to Evelyn and Teela for working together and learning from each other.
Excellent, excellent. I will echo that sentiment. I am giving a power sword to both Evelyn and Teela. I can't believe you gave a power sword to Teela.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is bizarre land. So yeah, both of them, both ladies did a fabulous job. Neither one was annoying. Well, Evelyn's never really annoying, but neither one was annoying. They did some good character development amongst themselves, and it was just an excellent episode for those two. So I agree. And as far as ratings go,
5 out of 5 Battle Cats.
And I will wait. You don't give Battle Cats out.
Yes, I do.
You give Orcos out.
Oh, Orcos. Yeah. Damn it.
I will give 5 Orcos, I guess, out of 5, since you gave my Battle Cats away. So we're both going to give this one a 5 rating. It was a birthday spectacular. I will. You can thank me for bringing this episode to us.
Right.
Because that's how birthdays work. All right.
Yeah.
So after the birthday party has gone away, it's obviously time to get evil. So let's transition to our next episode, which we'll talk about Evilseed right after this.
I must concentrate harder. I must bring them here.
Sorceress! You used the space portal to bring us here. Thanks. Where's my mother and father? And Teela? Did you bring them too?
No, the vines were too strong.
But your magic is powerful.
Yes, but not powerful enough.
I'll bet Skeletor's behind this.
How do you find out?
We'll ask him.
We can use the window of spirits to contact Skeletor.
All right, it's time for episode 59, which is Evilseed. Air date Thursday, November 24th, 1983. Written by Barney Cohen. It's the only episode he wrote for the series, and the plot goes a little something like this. On Eternia, both the forces of good and evil are attacked and overrun by large giant-like vines. At Castle Grayskull, He-Man and Skeletor blame each other for the disturbance as the Sorceress and Orko look on. Evilseed appears to them, all warning of Eternia's impending doom. This prompts the Sorceress to declare that the forces of good and evil must combine their powers at Castle Grayskull in order to defeat Evilseed. Skeletor has to make a monumental decision in order to save the planet. Masters, we have our regulars with the semi-regular Ram Man briefly seen. And then for the bad guys or the evil warriors, we have Skeletor, Evelyn, Merman, Trapjaw, and of course, if you want to consider him an evil warrior, even though he's not really part of them, we have the appearance of Evilseed. And the PSA is all about teamwork once again. As we saw Evelyn and Teela team up last time, this time we must see Sorceress, He-Man, and Skeletor team up. What do you think about the plot here?
I like the plot. It's all right. It's not the best plot. I don't think Evilseed's that menacing of a villain.
Oh, you've never had vines coming after you, boy.
I make sure to stay out of them.
You had vines coming after you. You'd understand. They come out everywhere. Evilseed and Evelyn in the same episode. Anyway.
Yeah. Evilseed is basically Masters of the Universe version of Poison Ivy. From Batman.
I mean, it is a standard plot where you have, in cartoondom, where you have your regular good guys and you have your regular bad guys, and then you have this third thing come in that threatens everybody or the planet or the world or whatever, and then you have to have the good and the bad team up. We've seen that before, so it's not like it's a unique, crazy, never been seen before plot type thing. I thought the execution was fairly well, though, as far as how they did it. it didn't seem forced as much. It wasn't like, hey, there's this evil thing and we need to team up, and it wasn't like Skeletor just goes, okay, and they team up and everything works. Like, they did a good job of showing some resistance in Skeletor, showing him that he's still an evil character, that he's, even when he goes along with it, he's not completely going along with it, that he resists for a while. So I thought the execution was pretty well.
Yeah, the execution was well done, but that scene on the top of Grayskull, all as I'm thinking is the only one that left out was Mati.
And you find a way always to somehow get a Captain Planet reference in there.
Yeah, well, you know. But overall, no, I like the teamwork part. I like all of Skeletor and He-Man's back and forth. But the fact that Evilseed was the main villain, no, don't like that too much.
I'll talk about that in a second. All right, well, let's move on to Castle Grayskull so I can get my thoughts fully out there.
I better stay here to guard the palace.
Come on, Cringer.
Uh-oh.
Where are you two going?
I just remembered something I have to do.
You always have something to do when there's trouble.
In here, Cringer.
Great place for a nap.
Later, pal.
You mean?
I mean, by the power of Grayskull!
All right, at Castle Grayskull, talking about Evilseed. I will say that, although you may not like him, I do enjoy seeing one of the classic characters show up. You know, it's been a long time since we've seen a new character. Obviously, it's, you know, a brief appearance, etc. But Evilseed is obviously a character that the franchise knows about. So it was cool seeing him. I thought it was interesting that they were debating in the at the castle at one point, talking about Evilseed's power, and He-Man basically is talking to the sorceress, and he says, "But your magic is powerful." And she says, "Yes, but not powerful enough." I was just like, man, if that's not the tagline for the entire series,
Yeah.
I don't know what is. We should record that and just like play it at random times, because her power is never enough. I thought it was cool to have another team up episode. Weird that it came right after the other one, I guess, with Evelyn and Tila. But it's cool seeing that it wasn't just them teaming up, but they even referenced that they have to have the three greatest powers on Eternia, which according to this episode is He-Man, the Sorceress, and Skeletor.
Well, no, let me ask you this. Since she said her power isn't enough, technically the three most powerful people on Eternia is He-Man, Skeletor, and Orko.
No.
Yes.
And then as far as some awesome moments in this episode, there's tons of great dialogue and tons of great voice acting from one in particular, and that would be Skeletor. Skeletor is hilarious in this episode.
He is.
He's talking on the computer screen to He-Man and the Sorceress when they're trying to get him to come after, when they're arguing about who's doing what, and like one of the vines comes after him as he's kind of talking on the computer, and he shoots it or with his magic or whatever, and he's like, "Did you see that?" That's just a funny moment. And then at one point, like, they lose the reception, and he's like looking at the screen and hitting it with his hand. He's like, "I demand that you return to this screen." So that was funny. And then there was also a cool kind of set of dialogue when he was talking about, they said something about it. Is there a good bone in your body or something like that? And he's like, "There's no good bone in my body," or he goes on like a little tangent, little speech, but it's just awesome dialogue from Skeletor throughout this entire episode. You could put together a whole bunch of sound clips for Skeletor, good moments in episode 59.
Oh yeah.
So
absolutely.
He's hilarious. He has a hilarious pose that we'll put in the episode post that went along with all this awesome dialogue. And it was just funny seeing him all basically beside himself as he's trying to deal with this annoying freaking vine mess, and he's basically sacrificing one evil warrior after the next without even caring.
Yep.
So he was just funny in this episode.
Yeah, he was.
What do you have for Grayskull moments?
He-Man, I demand you answer me now!
Return to the screen.
How many times have I said I love Cringer? At the beginning of this episode, it was awesome how they blended the voice track with the sound effects. I thought that was really great. Normally, when Cringer... Because what I've noticed lately is that Cringer complains, and then all of a sudden, boom, there he is. Or what I've also noticed is in the animation, when you have him, not just the around the corner, power bounce, like I mentioned, I think it was last episode, or it might have been episode 18, I don't remember. They've had him several times where it's just him on a like He-Man's in a standard background, or he would be He-Man at that point. He-Man's on a standard background, and so is Cringer, and you see him point the sword in the standard background at Cringer. I really do enjoy that. I think that's something kind of refreshing versus just seeing the constant Grayskull background. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I love that. It's awesome, but I find it really interesting how they blend him complaining to automatically the transformation.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Anything else?
Yeah, Skeletor wouldn't even help Evelyn.
No, he's not helping anybody.
No, he's not helping anybody.
It's like, I can barely help myself!
Yeah. The plants taking over is funny. It's more comical. It does not seem like it's that much of, this is the end of the world type of plot.
It was an interesting Christmas tree that they provided us with, though.
Yeah, that's true.
With ornaments of masters and evil warriors and all hanging together.
Yeah. The vine coming out of the mirror was damn impressive animation. I thought that was great. I didn't even see that coming.
No, I didn't either. That surprised me a little bit.
And as you said, seeing Skeletor almost have a crisis of conscience was absolutely awesome. He's used to being evil, and sadly doing that would not save him this time. So maybe he does have a good bone in his body. Maybe he can switch over to the Jedi.
No. You can just act like he does. I like that he immediately tried to, when He-Man was off getting his thing, he, destroys it so they can't try to bring him back. So he's always still plotting, and then that's really cool.
Yeah.
Anything else, sir?
That's it.
All right, well, let's make our way to Skeletor and see if he's having any trouble cleaning up the mess made by the vines.
He-Man! What manner of sorcery comes from Grayskull this day?
Suppose you start off by telling me what you've done with the plants. Then I'd like to know what you've done with Queen Marlena. Then...
Back up, muscle boy. I want to know what you've done to the plants.
Me?
Yes, because they're bugging the big bones out of me. Did you see that? The stuff's all over the place.
I can't get rid of them, Skeletor.
Keep trying.
Oh, no. Skeletor, they won't stop.
Well, He-Man, if you didn't do it, then who in the breakbone world did do it? He-Man, answer me. He-Man, I demand that you return to this screen.
Skeletor, you're fading out. Wait a minute. Who are you?
I am Evilseed, master of the plant kingdom, and I am taking over. And you, bonehead, all the miserable treasure you have, that shall be mine also.
No!
Look, he's on top of the dam.
Now hear me, all of you. My plants and I have slept for years. Now we waken to claim Eternia.
All right, we're at Snake Mountain fighting our way through the vines to see what exactly we can find. And a couple things here. First off, right at the beginning, not so sure that is the physical way. I don't know if physics would hold up here. If that's the way that you solve the dam leaking. As far as you shoot the one part of the mountain, it's going to turn into a bunch of rocks that are going to fall on the ground, and then you conjure up a tornado, which is just going to suck up the rocks like a vacuum, and then easily displace them on the part of the dam that's missing.
Yeah, that's not exactly an exact science.
That I thought was pretty hokey. Even as a kid, I think I'm going to be like, huh? I don't know about that. And equally, I thought I can bypass that, and I like the idea that we have Evilseed here with all the vines, and that We have to have the powers combined somehow to stop him because he's causing havoc everywhere. He's like capturing people and hanging them from trees and whatnot. I just wish they could have came up with a better way that the powers were going to have to combine to beat him. Like if the vines had a different weakness, like fire or something. It's just weird that we're going to go grab a chunk of this ice mountain. We're going to throw it like thousands of miles in the air. Yeah. It's going to be above Castle Grayskull, then we're going to explode it. And because as it falls to the earth, it's going to create some type of wintry cold effect, and the snow is going to kill Evilseed. I don't like that.
Well, it's not to kill Evilseed. It's not to kill him.
The vines, which will also kill Evilseed. But I just don't like that. Like that to me it wouldn't have made this wintry cold. It wouldn't, first of all, have done what they wanted it to do. And I just wish they would have gone something else besides the cold. Like instead of the cold, have something else because I don't know, like something you put in the water, or block off all the water, or fire or something, because I don't buy the big ice block and being busted up and that kills everything. So I had a problem with that plot point.
Yeah, I have a problem with the villain plot point. Like seriously, the vines are taking over, really? Just no. No. And Evilseed, and the reason why I probably have a problem with the villain plot is because I honestly did not remember the villain. I don't remember him being, when I was like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, when I was like really big into Masters of the Universe and paying attention to the current status of the toy line and everything else, I don't ever remember Evilseed being mentioned for a new figure or anything like that, or for a figure in general. I don't remember the character at all. And the sad thing is, I had seen this episode 3 times before we recorded this podcast, because it showed up on it was Cubo or one of those networks. They showed it in reruns on TV like last year. And I watched it like twice a year ago. And even now when I watched it for this episode of the podcast, I still didn't care about him as a villain.
I can see not necessarily caring about him, but I definitely remember him as somebody that was on the show. So I don't see that as much. But yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Not everyone's favorite villain.
Yep.
Anything else as far as moments from where we're at?
Not really. It was kind of the good moments really shine through in this. For actually analyzing anything to complain, the episode was just kind of there as far as, like I said, the plot. Okay, sure, the vines are going to take over the entire planet. Hell, we haven't even seen the entire planet. I mean, going to the Ice Mountain, I think, was one of the first times we've been into the Ice Mountains. I mean, sure, we see the vine jungle all the time. We see the palace all the time. Obviously, we have to see Grayskull and Snake Mountain all the time. But I kind of want them to explore more of that map that they keep showing us.
Yeah, that would be interesting as well.
Yes.
All right, well, let's see what kind of awards or ratings we're actually going to give episode 59.
Wait! Evilseed, don't go! Perhaps we can make a deal of some kind. Oh, he's gone. Who does that cabbage think he is?
All right, as far as hardware that we're going to hand out for episode 59, I have one thing to hand out. And if you couldn't tell during my Castle Grayskull moments, I am going to give a power sword to Skeletor because he was amazing in this episode, and it seems fitting. We've had 2 episodes with evil warriors in a row, and we're handing all kinds of hardware out to him to try to keep him around. So, power sword to Evil Lyn last episode, power sword to Skeletor for this episode. Anything for you to hand out, sir?
I know we haven't yet because we haven't gotten to season 2. But do you remember if we ever see a purple power sword for Skeletor in the show? I know that's what I know that was one of his accessories as a toy, but do we ever know if he ever had a purple sword in the show?
We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, because if so, I was just going to switch him. I was going to give He-Man Skeletor's purple sword and give Skeletor He-Man's gray sword. Because He-Man and Skeletor, the 2 of them in this episode, And even some of the side remarks from Orko were all just hilarious.
I agree, but not as hilarious as Skeletor's lines.
Right.
How about a episode rating? How many Orcos? Remember, you give out Orcos. What are you doing for episode 59?
Maybe when you make up these scripts, you should change that to Battle Cats and Orcos instead of Battle Cats and Cringers. That way I know what I give out. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I'm taking 1 point off because just in general, the villain plot to me was kind of lame. But overall, 4 out of 5. Really, really enjoyed the humor in it from Skeletor.
And I am going to echo that sentiment and also give a 4 out of 5. Outside of the giant ice ball plot device, I thought it was a pretty solid episode. I liked Evilseed. I liked the common threat that they were facing. I liked the fact that Skeletor was hilarious. I liked the fact that we had evil warriors in general. So an enjoyable episode. Not quite as good as episode 58, but still a quality episode. All right, so that's 2 quality episodes in a row. And let's see what we have with our last episode of the day when we get to the rounded out number there, episode 60.
Men-at-Arms, Men-at-Arms, this is Hovar. Can you hear me?
Father, what happens if Men-at-Arms doesn't come through for us?
Man-at-Arms always comes through, son. Man-at-Arms, come in, please.
Duncan, Tila, do you hear me? We are in trouble. We need help.
Hovar, this is Duncan. We hear you. We're doing our best.
It's no use. They don't hear us. And the situation on Selkie Island is getting worse, Tila.
I'm working as fast as I can.
With their force shield failing, that VHO is the only thing that can save them from, well...
It's almost ready for testing.
Oh, isn't this a beautiful day, Orko?
Yeah, it sure is, Adam. Everything's calm and peaceful.
I can't think of a thing that could ruin a nice day like today.
All right, it is time for episode 60, Search for the VHF. VHO, excuse me. Written by Arthur Brown Jr. Quick note about Arthur Brown Jr. He is a veteran writer at this point. He started writing back in the 1950s, actually. Even wrote a couple episodes for Gunsmoke back in the day, as well as a lot of things, and then just gets into cartoons kind of right at the end of his career. He writes writes for 2 episodes of He-Man. He did The Star Child and Search for the VHO. Then he writes 1 episode for Ghostbusters, and then he either died or retired, because this is the second last episode he writes in his entire career. Search for the VHO, which aired on Friday, November 25th, 1983. So this is how we end our week. Back during my birthday week of 1983, the plot goes something like this. On Selkie Island, Hovar, the royal historian, and his son Justin are in great danger from the creatures that inhabit the Isle. To save the pair, Prince Adam and Tila journey across Eternia to deliver the variable high-frequency oscillator. Yes, that is the VHO. I guess it's not VHFO. A device that emits a sound to scare off the creatures, basically a deer whistle. And they have to travel across the seas to do this because they can't apparently risk landing on the Isle. However, on the journey, they are attacked by the Kraken. Yes, the Kraken. Tila is kidnapped, and Merman plots the downfall of everyone, including Skeletor, possibly. He-Man must face the many dangers of the sea and the awesome strength of the Kraken in a race against time to get to the VHO to Hovar and Justin before the creatures annihilate them. Masters, we have our regulars, and bad guys, we have Merman. And the PSA is all about, it's not really a PSA at all, it's just a tribute to unsung heroes of exploration that have paved the way for society and civilization. Mm-hmm. It's a random, weird PSA, but I guess it fits the episode because they are all royal historians that they're trying to save. As far as the plot goes, the 2 kind of stranded people that are just doing their historian job getting attacked by animals, so they need a deer whistle, and they're going to have to travel across the ocean to do that, and then they have to fight Merman and the Kraken. What are your thoughts?
I like them fighting Merman, but I don't...
Did you just say Merman?
What? Yes, mermen. I don't know. It just, I don't know. This episode this is too weird. I like it for being something that Man at Arms has to actually do this time around, because the first two episodes of this podcast today, Man at Arms really didn't have anything to do in either one of them. So I like that this is kind of him kind of working out some stuff. I don't know. It just seems like a weird episode, and the reason why they couldn't fly is because Selkie Island has this impenetrable force field or something or other. So apparently the force field stops at the water's edge.
Interesting.
I don't know. And yes, Arthur Brown Jr. did pass away, but not until 2006.
Okay, so
it's
this is just when he retired, apparently.
Yeah, he must have retired because, like you said, Ghostbusters was the last thing he's got a writing credit for.
Right. All right. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird plot to me. The whole idea that they have to go, it's like there's two different stories going on. One with the royal historian and trying to save them from the animals that are encroaching on their territory. And then this random other storyline of the path to get there takes us to the Kraken and Merman. Not so sure how they all interconnect, but they're both going on during the same episode, so I guess we have that. But I have no problem with seeing a little merman and seeing some underwater stuff, so I guess I'll swim with it. Ba-ching. All right, let's swim our way to Castle Grayskull and see if we have any good moments to talk about.
Emergency. Force. Fail. Minute.
If Hovar's force field gives out before Tila can get that VHO there, then you can see for yourself, Adam, the animals will take over.
Huh. But why is Tila going?
Somebody has to take the responsibility. Is she taking the Wind Raider?
No, landing would be too dangerous.
Then how?
She's sailing on the newest, fastest ship in the Eternia Navy.
Oh, boy!
I wouldn't mind seeing that ship myself.
Well, then why don't you go along? I mean, you never know when Tila might need the help of He-Man.
Swam our way to Castle Grayskull, and, did you hear that, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought only dogs could hear that.
No.
The Eternian dog whistle. I guess that's going to be a highlight for me just because I found it funny. It's like we've created this crazy device that's going to help us, and it's like you just created a dog, like a deer whistle. Like, that's not too impressive.
Yeah.
It's just sound on a frequency that humans can't hear. But whatever, it's kind of funny. I thought the best part about this episode was the animation and the design of how things looked underwater. I think they do a great job in this series, and especially in this episode, of like the wave, like when you're completely submerged underwater, that you still kind of get that wave effect that the water's doing. And I just thought there was some cool stuff as far as how it looked when they were underwater.
Yeah, I'll get to that later.
Okay. I liked everything that was underwater except for one thing. But I definitely liked the design and the visual animation of it. So what about you? Any Castle Grayskull moments for VHO?
I have two, which I'll have to take
Keep
back.
wanting to say VH1.
Yeah,
this was VH0, and VH1 comes later.
Exactly. Video hits zero video hits, no video hits for you. A new Eternian naval ship, huh? That's interesting. I don't ever remember them having a navy.
Surprised that wasn't a playset that you could buy.
Yeah, really. That's the truth.
It didn't last very long, though.
No. I will agree with you. The underwater animation I thought was very well done. And normally I'm not someone who's a fan of underwater scenes in anything, but the animation did look pretty good.
You would not be a fan of an actual live-action Aquaman film that takes place all underwater?
Hell no.
Oh, I think it would be interesting. All right. Anyway, what else, sir?
That's it.
All right. Not much great to say about this episode because it wasn't a great episode. There was some good stuff. There was some bad stuff. So let's see what that bad stuff is as we, again, swim our way to Snake Mountain with dog whistles and deer whistles all attached so we don't get hit by anything.
I'm not sure I want to swim up those pink falls. I don't know what that pink stuff is coming out of the side of Snake Mountain.
Be adventurous. Embrace the pink stuff.
No.
I wonder what makes it go.
This ship's really moving.
At this speed, I'll be there in no time. Adam! What are you doing here?
I guess I didn't want to miss all the fun.
Well, now I have you to worry about.
At last, the oscillator is on its way. Once I have it, I'll be able to control every animal in Eternia. Even Beastman. And perhaps Skeletor himself.
So the pink stuff coming out of Snake Mountain. I guess Skeletor has Evelyn doing his laundry, throwing in red shirts all the time. No wonder all the Star Trek people die. Evelyn kills them by washing them to death and then spitting them out down Snake Mountain's falls, and it comes out pink.
I have no idea what you're talking about. And so we're going to ignore that reference because nobody else understands it either. As far as Snake Mountain moments, as far as the search for the VHO, I just have a couple things here. Number one, that was the longest breath I've ever seen anybody take as far as how long He-Man is swimming underwater. They should have at least had him getting air from somewhere every once in a while. I also didn't understand that homing beacons worked like that. I thought a homing beacon was placed somewhere and then someone back at a monitoring station or a receiver could tell where the homing beacon was. I didn't know then you could grab the homing beacon and follow it back to the receiver.
Well, there are...
No.
No, wait a minute here. Wait a minute, damn it. There are certain things that because if, like if I placed, let's say, a bat tracer on you, okay, you could then find it and either destroy it or you could track it back to me because I have the signal on the other end.
I just don't see it as easy as He-Man did.
Right. No. I agree, but I'm just telling you it can be done as far as that as far as that goes. I mean, that can be done. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, one other thing. I find it very odd that we've had a lot of times where we think that obviously characters should figure out He-Man and Prince Adam, etc., but we have to suspend that belief, or they've been somewhat careful about when Adam will run off and He-Man will show up, or this, that, and the other. But this is a weird one because you're on a ship, which is an isolated place, and He-Man was not on the ship to begin with. Adam was, and then they do the transformation. So how do you explain He-Man randomly being on the ship all of a sudden?
I can't.
So I thought that was a bad choice to have the transformation go at that point. Either He-Man needed to, once Teela sees Prince Adam on the ship, I don't think then you should have He-Man show up on the ship because she has not seen him yet. So I don't know. I just thought that was a weird way to do that.
No, I agree, yeah.
What about you, Sarah?
Adam, you startled me. Ugh. He had to yell because of all the noise. Okay, so here's the thing. In that beginning scene when Teela and Man-at-Arms are creating this dog whistle, it's actually making noise before they can fine-tune it that every human can hear, not just the animals. And Adam was yelling, and she's like, "Oh, you startled me. Don't do that." Ugh, give me a friggin' break. Ugh.
How do you really feel?
She's gonna get a Havoc staff.
Well, way to ruin it. All right, anything else at Snake Mountain?
Oh, yeah, I got 3 other things.
Oh, my.
Seriously, Merman, you think you can control Skeletor and Beastman, who are not animals?
Well, I can see the Beastman part. I can't see the Skeletor part.
Beastman?
Yeah, Beastman is a beast.
He is a beast, but he's not.
I can see that. I can't see the Skeletor part. I was going to write that down.
Yeah. And to counterpoint my CG moment about good animation, He-Man swimming on the surface. That animation of the water movement reminded me of the creeping Horak from one of the very first. That when He-Man is swimming on the surface of the water, that is some of the worst animation ever in this show. It looks totally weird.
Forever, ever?
Yes.
Forever, ever?
Yes. And like you already said, while He-Man is the most powerful man in the universe, I'm sorry, there's no fucking way he'd be able to hold his breath that long swimming through the cave following the homing signal. There's just no way. He took a breath, swam through the entire cave, which is, let's say, 6 feet long? Maybe less than that? I don't know. But there's no way. He was underwater for a good 5 minutes.
He was underwater a good part of the episode.
Yeah. So
yeah, I agree with you, and that you would think that's an easy thing that you would look for when you're doing something like that, but maybe not. But anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, that's the last time for today as far as giving out awards and rankings. So let's see what those would be.
Boy, it's pretty dark in here.
Is that any better, He-Man?
Merman, I should have known.
You don't seem happy to see me.
All right, it is time for the awards for Search for the VHO episode 60. Sir, do you have a Power Sword or a Havoc Staff to give out?
Yeah, Teela and Merman.
What do they get?
Havoc Staffs, both of them.
Why?
Because Teela was back to her annoying little bitchy self. And Merman is just being illogical, thinking he controls Skeletor with an animal machine. So yeah, Havoc Staff for Teela and Merman.
Okay, fair enough. I actually didn't have anyone that stood out either way for me this episode, so I'm going to keep my hardware to myself.
Ew, that belongs on another show.
All right, as far as rankings go, sir, you've given a 5 and a 4 out today. What does this episode get?
A 1.
A 1?
A 1.
You did not nearly say that many bad things about it.
I said 4 bad things about it and 2 good things, so a 1. A 1.
It was not that bad.
A 1. 1 Orko out of 5.
This is reminiscent of recent other ratings that you give stuff that makes no sense.
Oh, stop it. Don't even bring that crap
All right, a 1 Orko, I guess, will jot down for Mike's rankings, which is
and no greater than a quarter.
Yeah. Okay, for no reason we give a 1 for this one. I, on my other hand, will give this one a 3. I didn't think it was anything great, but it was not nearly a 1 terrible. It was just kind of that episode that's there. You get a little bit of Evil Warrior with Merman. You get some cool underwater stuff, but nothing great. So I'm going to put it right in the middle at 3 where it belongs, not at 1. It's not the worst episode of the series. Okay. Anyways,
no, worst episode of the series would be 0.
Well,
so
it's not in that class anywhere near it.
I did give it 1 point.
Oh, Lord, you're terrible.
1 is
Direct your
better than
hate
1.
and critiques to TFG1Mike because I am the one that gave it a reasonable rating, and we will be back with our overall thoughts on the series so far and all the information as how to get a hold of us.
Is Snake Mountain ready to take on He-Man? Anytime!
Snake Mountain, battle armor, He-Man, and Skeletor each sold separately. You put the mountain together. Batteries not included.
Is your serpent ready to strike? Yes! Come, He-Man. Come to Snake Mountain. If you dare.
Snake Mountain with Echo Microphone, new from the Masters of the Universe collection. Action figures each sold separately. From Mattel.
Not a chance, muscle brain. I don't do things for humanity. I do them for me. Wait, I will control Eternia all by myself.
Not as long as my friends and I are here to stop you.
Maybe not this time, but I'll be back. Count on it.
I don't get it. Why doesn't Skeletor use his powers to do something good?
Orko, some people are just blind. They don't know right from wrong.
When I do something wrong, Man-at-Arms sends me to my room. Too bad it's not that easy with Skeletor.
You know, that's not a bad idea, Orko.
It's not?
Uh-huh. Next time Skeletor does something wrong, we'll send him to your room.
My room?
From what Man-at-Arms tells me, your room is such a mess that Skeletor would never find his way out.
All right, I'll go clean it up right now. Want to help me?
Glad to, my little friend. Don't wait for us. I have a feeling we're going to be a while.
I've been in a number of difficult situations, but none of them were tougher than trying to get along with Evil Lyn. And yet, I found that if you make the best of a bad situation, you can come out a winner. So when things go wrong, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, try to work it out with a smile. You might surprise yourself when you see how well it works. Until next time.
Hello, geeks. Want a podcast that covers a vast array of topics with no rhyme or reason? Then check out Altered Geek Unlimited, where the topics fly more or less off the cuff. We cover media news, TV, our favorite geek products, and of course, your feedback. So get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
Today was a day for surprises, and the biggest one of all was Skeletor and He-Man working together. By joining their powers, He-Man and Skeletor were able to stop Evilseed. Working with others can sometimes be difficult, but if you listen to and respect the ideas of others, even when you don't agree with them, you'll find it's easier to get the job done. And who knows, you may even learn something.
So let's say you're looking for a podcast of your favorite 80s comic books, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, He-Man, etc. Where are you going to go to find this?
Welcome to Star Joe's Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm Chuck. That's right, everybody. We're the Star Joes. We host a podcast called Star Joe's Podcast, where we talk about your favorite comic books, your favorite toys of all the 80s properties.
Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, Thundercats, Voltron, you name it, we cover it. If it's in the 80s, we'll cover it at some point.
Yes, so what you want to do to find us, you can go to iTunes, you can go to www.starjoes.com.
And remember, the Force will be with you.
Because knowing us is half the battle.
Hovar and Justin certainly had a narrow escape, didn't they? But when one is an explorer or a scientist like Hovar, wild animals are only one of the many dangers you face. And yet, throughout the course of history, there have been brave men and heroic women ready and eager to be the first to face the unknown, to challenge its dangers so that others might follow without fear. It is to these unsung heroes that we owe so much. See you soon with another exciting adventure.
All right, so there you have it, episodes 58, 59, and 60, leaving us 5 episodes away from the end of Season 1. But today we've seen the return of the Evil Warriors, and what are you looking for as we travel down our last 5 episodes of the season, sir?
More Evil Warriors. No more individual plots, no more one-off villains, no more villains that just show up for an episode and never come back again. More standard Evil Warriors, or maybe even the return of Triclops, or introduction of a new Evil Warrior that we may see later in Season 2 or something.
I'm not holding my breath as far as thinking I'm going to see too many more characters. I'm thinking we're going to have to wait till Season 2 to see a majority of new characters, obviously. But that being said, I do like that we saw them come back here a little bit this week. I thought of some high-quality episodes this week. I gave a 5, a 4, and a 3, so nothing that was terrible today. So that's good. Hopefully we can end the season on a good note going into these last 5.
Yep.
All right, so thank you for listening to Tales of Eternia. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are 1,000 ways to do so. Visit the website, www.geekcastradio.com. You can comment on all our posts. You can also see the individual episode posts with pictures that we put up there. So you can see Evil Lynn in her white hair, and you can see Skeletor in that interesting pose. Send email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can leave the show feedback in iTunes. Please do this. We need more iTunes reviews. You can also follow us on Twitter. What's your Twitter?
That would be TFG1Mike.
All right, and mine is OptimusSolo. You can become a fan on Facebook. Search out Geekcast Radio Network. You can call the voicemail line and just tell us the show you're leaving the message for and give us a name. The number there is 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed the tales today, and don't forget to join us on our next adventure when we will be discussing episodes 61, 62, and 63. That would be House of the Good Lord, that's hard to say. Shakoti.
House of the Shabubi.
House of the Shakoti Part 1, House of the Shakoti Part 2, or Shakotai, I don't know. And then we'll end it with the Once and Future Duke. Not the Once and Future King, the Once and Future Duke. For now, I am OptimusSolo with
TFG1Mike.
By the powers of Grayskull, you all have the power.
Wow, you had a Ram Man moment right there.
What?
Shakoti, Shabubi, Shabibi. Ram Man.
At first I thought it was shiitake, and then I'm looking at it and I'm like,
It's Shakoti is how they say it in the episode.
What do we have here?
It's Castle Grayskull. And it's mine. Not so fast, Beastman. He-Man!
You can pit He-Man against Beastman, playing for the power of Castle Grayskull. You have to put the castle together.
Beastman's escaping.
The throne, Dad. Dad, you saved the castle.
Castle Grayskull from the Masters of the Universe collection. He-Man and Beastman, each sold separately from Mattel.